On this week's Ed Newsstand podcast, I'm going to give you 6 different keyboard shortcut printable bookmarks that you can use to make your life easier. Let's dive in. I've been wanting to do a video about this for quite a while, and I'm kind of just getting around to doing it now. So I talk to a lot of teachers, and when I'm helping them, I find that a lot of times they are making the extra click on their computer with regard to an application or being on the internet or whatever it might be. And I say, do you know the keyboard shortcut for X, Y, and Z? It doesn't really matter what it is, but I'm always like, do you know the keyboard shortcut for this or for this? And they're like, I think I know that, or I learned it at one time, and I keep meaning to know what it is again or start to use it, but I just can't get into the habit. So what I wanted to do this week is I wanted to provide a bunch of keyboard shortcut bookmarks for everybody that they could download and print off and tape to their desk or on their computer or wherever they need to, just so they could have them. And there's keyboard shortcuts for everything. It's just that you need to figure out what those keyboard shortcuts are within the specific application that you're using, right? So a lot of times I have a Windows desktop that I use in my office at the school, and then I have a Mac laptop that I use a lot when I'm just on the go or at home. So for me, it was kind of hard when I was making these bookmarks for everybody about the keyboard shortcuts. It was like, well, what do you provide? You have to look out for the Windows users. You have to look out for the Macintosh users. And then when you're in these different apps, the key shortcuts are just a hair different for everything that you do. So these were the ones that I thought were great. If you have some recommendations of other bookmarks that you would like me to see for keyboard shortcuts, I am more than happy to do that and put them. Maybe I can do another newsletter about them, or just push them out through Instagram, or I can send you an email or whatever it might be. But if you have other keyboard shortcuts that you like to use a lot, or that you would like me to make a bookmark for everybody, please let me know. But these were kind of the 6 that I looked at quite a bit, because we have Chromebooks for all of our students in 7 through 12, and so that's kind of a big deal. And Zoom is a huge deal right now for everybody with the distance learning that is going on, and everybody's using YouTube for just about everything. And then I love Smart Notebooks, so I thought it was kind of important to make Smart Notebook shortcuts, because there are a ton of them, and it makes using Smart Notebook so much easier. So let's just take a look at the newsletter here real quick. So you'll see in the newsletter, I've got the Windows shortcuts and I've got the Apple shortcuts. And when you see here command copy, command cut, command paste, a lot of times on the Windows side you use Control. Sometimes you use Alt instead, but you have to look those up. But just navigating the newsletter a little bit, let's just look at some of these things. So if you go to the newsletter and you want this Windows shortcut, if you click on it, it will bring up this PDF that you can download. And so from here, you can say, all right, well, now they're a lot bigger and easier for me to read. If you go to the print button, then you're brought to the ability to print it, and you can just hit the print, and it will print in a full screen, an 8.5 by 11 printout for you, which makes it a lot easier for you to save and be able to read. Otherwise, you can just come here whenever you need to look at these bookmarks. If you're looking for more in-depth bookmarks for Windows, and that goes on using Word or PowerPoint or Excel, down here at the bottom of the screen, you can click on the little Windows icon, and the little Windows icon will give you all kinds of keyboard shortcuts. So you can look in here. Now, what are you using? I'm using Windows. So you can use these Microsoft keyboard shortcuts in Windows, and you can look at the different topics, editing graphics, working in tables. So check out that link for other keyboard shortcuts. The same goes for using Apple shortcuts on your MacBook. You can go down here and you can click on the little Apple logo, and that will bring up all of the different Apple keyboard shortcuts. And you can see here when they show you these at the top, this little symbol is the command symbol. When you see the up arrow, that's the shift symbol. You've got the option or alt symbol, control. So they give you, as you move through here, some common shortcuts, but then you can get even more in depth about how you're logging out and some other keyboard shortcuts that you might use. When working on a Chromebook, they use a lot of control, and I try to put in here some very unique Chrome shortcuts instead of just the cut, copy, paste. So if you're using the browser, you've got the new tab one. This was kind of interesting here where you have the highlight the URL. So you would push on a Mac, it's Command L and it highlights the URL on the Omnibox. You see it kind of highlighted there. But if you're in a Chromebook, it's Control L and it will highlight. And then you can just do a Control C or a Command C to copy that and be able to share it somewhere else. You want to take a quick screenshot. Here's the keyboard shortcut for that. And then another one that was really interesting is if you want to dock your windows on the left or the right, you can use the Alt key and it will automatically move them to the left or the right to give you dual view of maybe a web browser on your Chromebook. When looking at Smart Notebook, if you look at Smart Notebook and you're in it, when you're on a document and you are on an object, if you right click on that document or two-finger click if you're on a computer, you can see right here, these are the keyboard shortcuts that you're going to use. And this is on a MacBook, so mine are going to be a little different than maybe the Control C or what have you. But even down here, when you go into lock, you've got all your keyboard shortcuts here. When you go into linking, when you go into grouping, some of these other things, if you have multiple things on here. So if I copy this together and I highlight, now I'm going to get some more keyboard shortcuts. So I've got my grouping. I'll move my face up here a little bit. When I go here to the grouping, I've got the Command G, or on a Windows machine, it's going to be maybe K or U. So kind of look at those. And then even if you go up here to your toolbar, you'll see all of the different keyboard shortcuts are listed up here in your toolbar. So when you go into your toolbar, you'll have all of these keyboard shortcuts for everything that you might need for that as well. And so I encourage you to kind of look through that, and then let's check out one other thing here in Zoom. So if you're a heavy Zoom user for distance learning or just with your students in general, if you go over to the settings and then you go down here to keyboard shortcuts in Zoom, you will see all of the keyboard shortcuts available for Zoom. And if you want to enable these global shortcuts, you just have to check mark the box. So like if you want to do this Shift Command M for muting audio for everyone except the host, just click the checkbox, and then moving forward you can just use that keyboard shortcut for Zoom, and then you can easily mute everybody instead of having to hover up and find the button. But you can see they're all down here, all the keyboard shortcuts for Zoom, and they're in the same place. And so if you're using your keyboard shortcuts in a meeting, or you're using your keyboard shortcuts in chat or in general, all of your keyboard shortcuts are in one spot, whether you are on a Windows machine or whether you are on a Mac computer or Chromebook. So you can see down here I've got Chrome shortcuts. You can click on this little Chromium logo down here at the bottom and you've got keyboard shortcuts for Chrome. All of those are listed here, easy to use. And one other place that I have all the keyboard shortcuts here is for the Zoom shortcuts. So you can click on this article. You can go into Zoom and look at them, or you can click on that article and you can look here because we've got them for Mac. There are also shortcuts for iOS and Windows. So here are some shortcuts for iOS if you have a keyboard attached to your iPad, which is becoming a very popular thing and something that we have for our 5th and 6th grade students, but something that they can easily use within iOS when they're using their Zoom sessions. So I encourage you to check out all of the different keyboard shortcuts. I provided them here for you. I'm going to push them out through Instagram as well. But if you have any questions, please hit me up, or if you have ones that you love, make sure to tell me what those are and I'll share those with everybody else. Or if you want me to make another bookmark for people to print on a different application, please let me know on that too. Thank you for tuning in this week. As always, you can find me on Twitter at ReynoldsTroy. Find old episodes of the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on Instagram at ednewsstand, and you can download my app and stay up to date with my content by scanning the QR code or by going to ednewsstand.glideapps.io and saving the app to your home screen. You can also find all my resources I just mentioned in my newsletter and watch the video I made on my website at ednewsstand.weebly.com. I'm Troy Reynolds. We'll see you next time on the Ed Newsstand Podcast.